Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. I'm Ronnie Rance alongside TK, Tommy Chrysan, Mr. St. Bernard Parish Hall of Famer. On this Friday edition of Sports Shorts Daily presented by LeBear's Casino. Tommy joining us over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood where we got a little they got boiled crawfish over there, TK?
3 o'clock today, 3 o'clock tomorrow because the Smash Town parade's at noon. So they're going to get them ready for those that may have left the parade and want to get some crawfish on the way home. Boiled crawfish, live crawfish. They got it. It'll be ready 3 o'clock today and about 3 o'clock tomorrow. If you need a sack or two for the Mardi Gras weekend, hit them up here at Tremonti's.
All right. Today on Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's Casino. And, of course, I'm in an undisclosed location presented by the LASportsHall.com, Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Go check it out. Give us a follow on social media as well. LSU baseball, a little afternoon delight, 2 o'clock over in Frisco, Texas, north of Dallas, taking on Kansas State. K-State only 4-4, but they did sweep. They had a sweep last week at Globe Life Ballpark, did Kansas State, and they beat Arkansas and TCU on the weekend. Both teams ranked. So, this don't look at that 4-4 record. That Kansas State better than that. And, of course, their head coach, former Tiger Hal Hughes' dad, longtime coach over at Kansas State. Coach Hughes bringing the Wildcats to take on the Tigers. That'll be interesting. Nebraska, who started off the season ranked after their first weekend, has lost 2 out of 3 last week over to UL Lafayette. And Nebraska now 3-4. That's who the Tigers will face on Saturday. And surprisingly, Sam Houston's only 2-6. So on paper, the Tigers should take care of business, but today will be the toughest probably of the weekend with Cade Anderson going on the mound, the St. Paul lefty. The Tigers on Wednesday night against DBU, another ranked opponent on the road. Win 7-2, 7-3, Tommy? 7-3?
7-3. You know me, Ronnie, the box score guru. The thing that jumped out at me, LSU left 15 runners on base, and that's way too many. Okay, get them on, get them over, get them in. We all know that. And remember the weekend before, they had like 2 games where they combined to leave 21 on base. So I'm sure Jay Johnson has addressed that. But like I said, when I studied my box scores, things jump out at me that maybe not everybody sees.
The pitching was outstanding, minus, the one freshman pitcher coming in relief and walking 2 in a row, and they pulled him. Outside of that, another dominant performance by the LSU pitching staff. Connor Ware, scoreless through 4, gave up a homer in the 5th, and then they yanked him. But Connor Ware, the lefty, did 6 punch-outs, no walks. The plethora of riches on the mound is a real thing for LSU. I mean, I think, and this is from the horse's mouth, Nate Yeske, their pitching coach, said, right now I've got really good confidence in about 11, 12 guys, that he, at the moment, that he feels good about and kind of feels like he knows what he's going to get.
Well, and the old saying in football, you can't have enough good tailbacks. Well, in baseball, you can't have enough good pitchers, okay? Because unfortunately, somebody's going to get an injury somewhere along the line. Hopefully, it's not a major injury. But no, the LSU pitching. I have a question for you. When they pulled Ware the other night, and the home run was one of them way out the park. Jeff Palermo was on the call, and he'll be on the call all weekend. He's a fantastic baseball announcer. But they pulled him right after that pitch. Now, he was throwing a no-hitter, and all of a sudden, kaboom, it's into the second level at Globe Life Field. You think my first thought was maybe he didn't throw the pitch that was called and the coach got mad, or do you think it was a pitch comes? They weren't going to let him go 9 innings and try to throw it no hit.
Yeah, I just think.
Am I reading between the lines?
Well, the thing is that I wasn't watching the game, and so we didn't see the velo too. The velo could have dropped like it did his first.
Remember I talked about that.
Yeah, so he's pitching in the 5th inning. They extended him. The velo is down. They're now seeing him for the second time or so. So, I just think it was that point of the ball game where it was the kind of the right thing to do. I think did they have an error right before the homer?
Nope.
That was the first batter of the 5th.
It was the first hit.
I don't think
it might have been a 2-run home. I'd have to go back and look
or something. But anyway. I'll look it up here in a second. But no, I don't think it was anything like that. I think like Connor Ware looked fantastic in the fall. He's looked good his first two outings. That he's another of many guys. But because he's left-handed, there's some tremendous value there. The Tigers aren't blessed with as many lefties as they had a year ago. So to have Connor Ware be a guy that looks like he could potentially start, relieve, close, middle, whatever, give some flexibility, because it looks like obviously Cade Anderson, the expectation is he'll be in the rotation all year long. And then you need some other lefties in a DJ Primo, a little up and down in a couple of his first outings, commanding the strike zone. So Connor Ware, definitely a guy that's going to be relied upon a ton this year. This LSU, you mentioned I think when Jay Johnson, LSU's coach, decides to settle in on a lineup more, or at least settle in on a rotation more, then this offense is going to pick up. I think right now he's throwing too many things against the wall to see what sticks, and it's hard to get some continuity there. Obviously he's got about 3 or 4 guys that he really can, count on that are red hot right now. But when he's trying to find those other guys, and you're playing a lot of different people, and this guy goes 0 for 2, you pull him, you put another guy in, he goes 0 for 2, it's hard right now. And so I think as he settles in and narrows down the amount of people that are playing and gets it down to a reasonable number, and I don't know what that is in his mind, but like if you've got 9 guys on offense, you only should have maybe, 3 or 4 others at the most in the mix to play. And right now he had 15 guys bat the other night, or 16 guys, something like that. That's just too many, and some of those guys shouldn't have been playing in that game against DBU, a ranked team on the road, but it's still early on in the season and he's just kind of trying everybody out.
You think that might contribute to the left on base, to that continuity, and that how it gets contagious, hitting gets contagious, all that stuff. So that might be a part of that. But
he had the freshman Costello, he had Mick Paul, hitting in the 7th or 8th inning when they had the bases loaded and no outs, and LSU left the runners on. Like things like those guys aren't going to be in those situations. There's going to be other guys. So, but Fry looked good again. Ethan Fry, who's a junior, who looks like a major leaguer. He's got the body. He's 6'5", and he's been there 3 years, and had a little bit of an injury last year that slowed him down when he was red hot for a minute. Like he's a guy that is a wild card, because coming into the season, you're not judging LSU's offense based on Ethan Fry. But much like Jonathan Zarang, who's had a man's body and a professional baseball player's body, who didn't do much for a year and a half and was considered a little bit of a disappointment. This is 20 years ago. He got red hot his junior year and ended up being SEC Player of the Year and getting drafted and all that. And I think Fry can be like that. Not saying he's going to be as good as Jonathan Zarang, the SEC Player of the Year, but I think it can come together for a guy like him. And all of a sudden, he's in the lineup every day as an outfielder, DH, whatever, and you weren't really thinking that was going to be the case before the season. But he's got the skill set, and people like Josh Pearson are off to a slow start in his 4th year, and nobody has really taken a stranglehold yet of that rotation. Stanfield, has good game, bad game, strikes out a lot. So it's ripe for the taking. Jay Johnson, besides Curiel in center, is looking for 2 guys in the outfield to just take that job, be consistent, hit 300 or more day in and day out, be the guy, and the job's yours.
Jake Brown might be, obviously he's a candidate for that. So you're right. Jay Johnson's, he's the master chess player now. He's moving all the pieces. He's trying these pieces, and he's preparing for the SEC season, which is only a couple weekends away when Missouri comes to town. So, hey, it'll be good to see how the weekend goes. As you said, on paper, LSU you would think has a great chance to win all 3, certainly 2 out of 3. But as we know in baseball, you got to line up and play, and that guy on the mound can make a difference. If K-State, Nebraska, or Sam Houston throws a guy that has a great day, it could stifle LSU's lineup a little bit. But, hey, one game at a time. Kansas State, 2 o'clock today.
All right, you watched the fourth quarter and overtime of LSU's women last night. We told you they were going to have a tough stretch. Were two teams ranked on the road. LSU was down 16 at Kentucky, came back one. They were down, I think, 11 or 12. They were down 10 with like 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they come all the way back and they tie it, send it to overtime, and lose in overtime. What's your takeaway with this LSU women's team right now?
Alabama hit some clutch shots. Kim Mulkey even said, "Hey, they really deserve to win this game tonight." And that's rare that a coach says that. He credits the other team so profusely. But LSU missed some free throws down the stretch, and they were down 5-7. They kept bouncing around. Then they closed the gap, actually took the lead. And then Alabama, again, sometimes you got to give the other team credit. They hit some clutch shots, had a clutch steal. LSU missed a bunch of free throws down the stretch, which, we all know that story. It could have made it there. You go to overtime and you realize you missed 6 free throws, in the last 2+ minutes of the game. Maybe we weren't in overtime. But when you get to overtime, you got a chance, obviously. And they had a chance. It just separated, and Alabama wins by 3. The one thing that did catch my attention, not a big crowd at the game. I mean, there was a lot of empty red seats, certainly behind the goals for the game. But LSU now 12-3 in conference play, and they will host Ole Miss Sunday. Ole Miss not having a good year. They should be able to get back on the winning track.
Before we talk about LSU softball, we have to mention tragedy on LSU's campus. It can the Riedenauer family from the North Shore, Dylan Riedenauer, who went to Fontainebleau High School, pole vaulter, freshman at LSU, killed in a traffic accident a couple of nights ago. Motorcycle collision. Motorcycle ran into the side of the vehicle. Both vehicles caught fire and both passed away tragically. You and I are both dads and have daughters, and nightmare thing that family is going through. Can't even imagine. This was a talented young athlete who, just at the start of her life, and tragically it ends this way. We don't know any details, who was in the wrong, who was in the right at this point. I don't know that it matters, but some bad news for LSU athletics.
Yeah, really tough, really difficult, tragic, and for her family and friends. I mean, it's just their lives have changed forever, and hopefully they can find a way to move forward.
LSU softball, had been off to an unbelievable start, undefeated. You get on that plane and you got to travel all the way to California, for a tournament this weekend. They lost last night, their first loss of the game of the season at Cal State Fullerton. No slouch in the world of softball.
Well, and they did beat UCLA in their first game. And LSU's ranked 5, UCLA was ranked. They got a doubleheader today. They'll play Utah and Notre Dame. So hopefully Beth Torina's crew can get back on the winning track. And again, you don't expect the team to go undefeated, but when they were 14, 15-0, whatever they were, all of a sudden you lose to a really good Cal State Fullerton team, 6-5. It's not like you got clocked or anything. So I'm expecting the Tiger softball team to bounce back.
TK, we've talked about this on the show, and we figured it was going to happen one day. Here it is. In the NFL next year, tell us about how we're not going to have 70-year-old retired guys out there with chains figuring out where the first down is.
Well, they're going to use technology. The NFL is going to go to a system that they used in the preseason this past year, 2024, to determine if the first down, if they reach the line to gain. I don't know all the details yet, but they sampled it in the preseason, and the owners have voted it in for this year. They're going to leave the chain gang out there, quote unquote, as a backup plan. Okay, sooner or later, I think that's going to go away, especially if the system works, to their liking. But it's going to be interesting to see just how they do it, because as you were talking about, like in Wimbledon with Hawkeye, the ball hits and they show you the grab it. You see if it caught part of the line or if it was out or was in. Football's a whole lot different. I mean, when you jump in the air, say the quarterback jumps in the air, he gets the ball going, and all of a sudden he's hit backwards. Man, how far did the ball go? Can the technology do that? So curious to see how it is, but they, like everybody else, turn into the technology to try to get it right. And it's not just because the first down play with Josh Allen, did he make the first or not in the playoff game for the Bills against the Chiefs? Certainly, you can look at that 100 times, and 50 times you can think he made it, 50 times he missed it. Well, I don't care if you're a Bills or a Chiefs fan. You just look at it and go, okay, did that guy get a first down? Every time you look at it, you flip-flop. So hopefully they can eliminate that. Be interesting to see how it goes. There's no way they would be doing this if they don't have confidence that it can work. Now we see it. We'll see if it does work.
Well, the other thing too is that I don't know that the gang way, because you still need that marker. The teams still need to know, where am I going for the first down? The quarterback and the running back and the coaches, they still need to be able to look on the field and see a marker. And if you're going to have one pole, you might as well have both. And so I think that'll be there. But again, just sort of as a like an emergency backup, if technology goes down, there's a glitch, whatever happens, you got a physical backup there. But I'm glad for this. I mean, I don't understand why it took so long. They've got golf balls now that have, you can, a little whatever in the golf ball, the way you can find it on your phone. You hit it into the woods. You don't have to just say, I have no clue where it's at. It'll take you right to the ball, which I really need to get, Tommy. I mean, that's my 25. I need to get those. That's what I'm gonna try. I do want to get them, just a box, just to see how they compare to regular golf balls. Do they play the same? Do they go as far? Do they spin the same? I'm curious. So we'll have to test that out. But look, we've got Major League Baseball now. I mean, we're testing it out in spring training, and you told me that the players so far have been right.
I don't know the exact number, but every now and then I'll grab 10, 15 minutes of a spring training game just because it's baseball and I like watching it. And a lot of the guys that are in the game aren't going to be there in 3 weeks, but they're doing that challenge system, and way more than not, the call gets overturned. And I'm talking both ways. Sometimes it's called a ball and they turn it to a strike. There's times I've seen they call it a strike and they turn it to a ball, and it's pretty quick, because the pitcher, catcher, or hitter is the only person that can challenge. They got to do it. They got to tap their head really quick, and then they're not, by the time they say this pitch is being challenged, boom, it comes up on the screen of what it is, and then they change it or don't. Many more change than not in what I have seen.
Well, I think it's a good thing. I mean, look, as long as, and I like how they're doing it so fast. This isn't a review where they got to run off the field, put the headsets on, have somebody look at it, tell them, or they look at a monitor. This is just instantaneous feedback, and then they're showing on the screen in the ballpark and on TV the actual computer. Oh, it caught the corner of the strike zone. So everyone gets to see it, just like a tennis review at the U.S. Open or something. So I think that technology is great. Hopefully we've got something similar to that for the NFL, where it's they show the line to gain and that the ball went past it or whatever, it touched it, whatever it needs to do. Just like near the end zone. Hopefully, and that's another thing we're talking about. Like, they're still going to be using this for the end zone too, because how many times are we reviewing and we're seeing camera angles and everything else, and there's a mass pile of people, and we're trying to go, well, I think he got across, not sure, whatever the call is, that's what stands. Well, now we're going to have this technology that's going to tell you. So fantastic. TK will be tomorrow morning, Sports Shorts Radio over at Fat Daddy's in Plaquemine, 10 to noon on ESPN Radio in Lafayette, Lake Charles, and Baton Rouge. I'm looking forward to that. You, me, and Hunter McCann will be over there. We'll have the sandwich of the month. We'll tell you all about it.
The big question is, are we going to hear from Buzzy Heidel?
We will hear from the Buzz, yeah.
Or might he roll into Fat Daddy's and get a sandwich with us?
You're probably asking too much. No, we'll hear from the Buzzard on LSU baseball. We'll get his talk, but no. I mean, the idea that, look, the weather is fantastic, right? I mean, this is golf weather if there ever was golf weather. And so I can see the Buzzards going to be on the golf course somewhere, maybe at the island. I don't know. But probably U Club where he's a member. because we got some cold weather coming in. I don't know, after the weekend. I want to say on Tuesday, LSU baseball's got a home game on Tuesday against North Dakota State. Go figure. I'll be on the broadcast for that, on the call for that one. But I want to say they've got wind gusts, in the 40s on Tuesday. So enjoy it while you can, because we'll have some more cold after the weekend. Tell us about Tremonti's as we get out, TK.
Well, you got the boiled crawfish, 3 o'clock today, 3 o'clock tomorrow. You can call and order some live crawfish, get you a sack or two. Still got everything else you need here, the Chairman's Reserve meats, the ribeye rolls, the shrimp rolls. They got a big slab of bacon ready for you. Ronnie, when you stop by, you're going to come get some bacon. We know that. All the wine and bourbon and liquor that you need. Get lunch today. You can eat here. Got some brand new chairs here in the dining room at Tremonti's. So come check it out. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church and School. Come get some crawfish. I'm probably going to eat some here tomorrow afternoon. All right, that's Ronnie Rant. Please like and share this show, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Like and share this show. That helps out. And we'll talk to you tomorrow morning on Sports Shorts Radio, ESPN Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. I'm Tommy Price, and have a great day, everyone.